if you go to the grocery store right now and you buy a jar of, just generic curry powder, you aren't actually buying an Indian ingredient at all.
No, not at all. You're basically buying a British invention.
Right. It's this concept designed to standardize and, I guess, bottle up a culinary landscape that is, by its very nature, an explosion of hyperlocal diversity.
Yeah, it was an attempt to take a wildly complex, regionally specific flavor architecture and just cram it into a convenient little shaker bottle. And in doing so, I mean, it completely erases the actual mechanics of how Indian cuisine functions.
Well, welcome to a brand new deep dive. Today, we are tearing the lid off that shaker bottle. We're taking you on a journey into the vibrant, sizzling, and just deeply aromatic world of Indian chat stations and spice-laden curries.
And our mission here is really to map out the complete sensory experience of this food. We aren't just going to list off what tastes good.
Right, exactly. We are going to explore the underlying chemistry of these dishes, the wild regional economics that dictate them, and the highly engineered nutritional science that's just kind of hiding underneath all that flavor.
Because whether you consider yourself a seasoned foodie who already navigates a complex spice rack, or you're just simply looking to understand why certain foods captivate the globe, we're unpacking how this cuisine balances these really profound contrasts.
Yeah, because you have the rapid, ephemeral thrill of street food on one side,
Right.
and then the slow-cooked, historically layered curries on the other. It is speed and patience engineered to sit right next to each other.
Exactly. So let's start with the speed, because before we get into the heavy, rich, simmering pots in the kitchen, we have to look at where millions of culinary adventures begin every single day.
The roadside chat station.
Yeah, the Chaat station. And for anyone unfamiliar, Chaat isn't just a casual snack. It's an entire category of existence. The word itself is rooted in a Hindi term meaning to lick or to taste.
Oh, wow. So the implication being that the food is so physically engaging, you literally have to lick your fingers to capture the residual flavor.
That's the idea, yeah. But what makes Chaat an institution isn't just that it tastes good. It's the sheer mechanical engineering of the bite. Like, take Pani Puri, for example.
Oh, I love Pani Puri.
Right, so you have this delicate, hollow, fried semolina shell. A vendor taps a hole in it, drops in some spiced potatoes or chickpeas, and then dunks the entire thing into a vat of fiery, minty, tamarind-infused water.
Which, okay, that raises an immediate physical question for me. How does a delicate, crispy shell survive being dunked in liquid without just instantly turning into mush?
It's actually all about starch gelatinization.
Wait, really?
Now, during the frying process, it creates a temporary waterproof barrier. But the catch is that barrier only lasts for a few seconds. The vendor hands it to you, and you have to consume it in one single immediate bite.
Right, so it's food that demands your absolute undivided attention. Like, you cannot put a Pani Puri in a to-go box.
Exactly. It is designed purely for the present moment.
And when you take that bite, you are hit with this incredibly specific flavor sequence. You get the crunch of the shell, then the liquid burst, bringing this intense chili heat, and that's followed instantly by the sour tang of the tamarind.
Yeah.
It honestly feels like a palate reset button.
A palate reset button is actually the perfect way to describe the underlying chemistry of Chaat. Because the acidic components, the tamarind, the raw mango, the lime juice, they trigger an immediate rush of saliva production.
So your mouth is physically reacting to the acid.
Right, exactly. Meanwhile, the fats, which are often introduced through thick yogurt or fried dough, they coat your tongue's taste receptors, temporarily buffering that aggressive chili heat.
Oh, so you are chemically wiping the slate clean every 3 seconds.
You are. And that is the biological reason you can stand at a street cart and eat a dozen of them without experiencing flavor fatigue.
It's basically a masterclass in flavor balancing. But what blows my mind is the accessibility of it all. Like, we often associate chef-level, scientifically balanced flavor profiles with fine dining, expensive tasting menus with tweezers and stuff.
Yeah, the hyper-curated experiences.
Right. But Chaat is the ultimate democratic food. It provides a highly complex, intense experience that is financially accessible to almost everyone. You literally just walk up to a cart on the side of the road.
And that democratization of flavor relies entirely on local supply chains. The vendor doesn't have a massive walk-in freezer or imported ingredients, right? They are using what is cheap, abundant, and immediately available in their specific region.
Which means the concept of Chaat is fluid.
Very fluid. It molds itself completely to the geography.
So if Chaat is this accessible palate reset button, how that button gets pushed depends entirely on your coordinates. Let's trace that map a bit. Imagine walking through a bustling market in Delhi. You are just enveloped by the heavy aroma of toasted cumin in the cold winter air. The chaat there leans into bold, punchy, aggressive spices to combat the colder climate.
Right. And then you move west to a major coastal trade hub like Mumbai. The street food culture shifts dramatically there. Mumbai is famous for sweet, spicy fusions.
Like Sev Puri. Right.
Exactly. You see dishes like Sev Puri, where sweet date and tamarind chutneys aggressively cut through the sharp chili heat. And that flavor profile is a direct reflection of a historically wealthy port city that had access to diverse, traded sweeteners and dried fruits.
Oh, that makes so much sense. And then you travel south. The climate changes, the topography changes.
Yeah.
You leave the wheat fields of the north behind completely.
Yeah, the South Indian street food matrix practically abandons wheat entirely. The local agricultural economy runs on rice, lentils, and coconuts. So naturally, the snacks evolve into, fermented rice batters, lentil dumplings, and these incredibly fiery coconut-infused chutneys.
Wait, I want to challenge something here.
Go for it.
Because you hear people in the West constantly hunting for authentic Indian food. But based on what you are saying, authentic Indian food is practically a meaningless phrase unless you attach a specific GPS coordinate to it.
Oh, completely.
It's not just a difference in taste, it's a totally different philosophy of food dictated by the local economy.
You are absolutely hitting the nail on the head.
Yeah.
Searching for a single authentic Indian dish is like searching for a single authentic European dish.
Yeah.
It just doesn't exist. When you eat street food, you aren't just tasting a recipe, you are tasting the local agricultural output.
You're tasting the soil, the climate, the local economy.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It is literally an edible geography lesson.
So street food is ephemeral, it's fast, it's tied to the immediate harvest, and you consume it in seconds. But to survive in India's intense climate, historically, especially before modern refrigeration, you needed a way to preserve food. You needed time.
Right.
And that brings us to the exact opposite end of the culinary spectrum. We are moving indoors, away from the fast-paced carts, and into the slow-simmered, methodical architecture of the curry.
If Chaat is a sprint, a curry is a multi-day marathon. This is where we see the deep chemical traditions of the kitchen at work. I mean, the foundation of any great curry relies on a roster of spices: turmeric, cumin, coriander, cardamom.
But let's look at the actual chemistry of how those spices are used, because it's not just dumping dry powder into a pot of boiling water to make it spicy. Heat is often the least important part of the equation, right?
Absolutely. The magic happens through a process called tempering, or tadka. Many of the crucial flavor compounds in Indian spices, like the capsaicin in chilies or the essential oils in cumin, they're hydrophobic.
Meaning they don't mix with water.
Right. They do not dissolve in water. If you just boil them, the flavor stays locked inside the spice particle. But they are highly soluble in fat.
So the fat acts as a chemical solvent.
Precisely. You heat ghee or oil, and you introduce the whole spices. The high heat of the fat literally bursts the cells of the spices, extracting those fat-soluble flavor compounds, infusing the oil itself.
Oh.
Yeah, and that infused oil then becomes the foundational building block of the entire dish. It carries those deep, earthy flavors into every single bite of the meat or vegetables added later. It is brilliant, intuitive flavor architecture.
Let's apply that architecture to a dish that has basically conquered the globe. Vindaloo. It's famous for being a fiery, deeply spiced curry. But Vindaloo is essentially a historical ledger sitting in a bowl.
It really is the ultimate case study in culinary collision.
Yeah.
I mean, the name Vindaloo actually comes from the Portuguese dish carne divina de arroz.
Which roughly translates to meat marinated in wine and garlic.
Right, exactly.
Right.
Centuries ago, Portuguese explorers brought this concept to their colonies in Goa, on the western coast of India.
But the Portuguese didn't have access to the ingredients they are used to.
Right, they didn't have European wine vinegar in Goa. So the locals adapted the dish using indigenous palm vinegar. And more importantly, this was the exact era when global trade routes were introducing South